Hello, hello. Welcome to our tapping today. Sorry, I'm just playing around with volume. I'm assuming that it's working. How's everybody doing today? We are going to be doing some tapping around avoidance today, and leaning into the wisdom that the body can bring to avoidance, to that area of resistance and avoidance. And we got some flyaway hairs here that are just doing their own thing. Lots of volume, but whatever. Okay. Also, before I get started, I have my daughter running around a little bit. So if she interrupts, we'll just pause everything for a second. Okay, so yeah, today let's talk about avoidance. So avoidance is something for me that I've been playing with a little bit. It can sometimes, for me, it's a resistance and it's avoidance of things that I'm uncertain of. I'm not really super clear on, and so there seems to be a tendency to just kind of want to, okay, well, we'll come back to that in a minute. We'll come back to that when I know what to do with it. And I think there's a purpose for avoidance for sure. I think that, again, with everything, there's a gift and a challenge. And so the thing with avoidance that I tend to see or find for myself is that I'm either avoiding something that I don't know anything about, or I'm avoiding something because I don't want to give it any attention. I don't want to give it any of my energy, my time, my resources, anything like that, because part of me wants it to just fall away. And a lot of the times I think we attach on to things that we think we need to sift and sort through, we need to work through, we need to process, we need to integrate, whatever it is. But really, sometimes all of those things, or sometimes those things, just it's just a matter of release. It's just a matter of how quickly, how easily, how efficiently, how effortlessly can we release something. And so sometimes we move away from something to see if it will, release itself without too much effort, because sometimes we really don't have to put a lot of effort into anything. It's just there to move through and pass away, or move through and pass through. I don't want to say pass away, but pass through our experience without us needing to attach to anything. And I think sometimes that's a lesson. Sometimes that has definitely been a lesson for me, is like, how quickly and efficiently can I move through something and allow it to just move through my experience so that I'm not making a story into it. So yeah, the lesson is not how much, like, do you need to attach to something? Do you need to make it a story? Do you need to put meaning into it? Or can you just let that shit go? Then there's also the other side of avoidance, which is like, we don't know exactly what we need to be doing. We don't have clarity, we don't have certainty. And so we avoid, or we postpone, or we disregard something, thinking that we're going to come back to it later, thinking that we're going to come back to it with more wisdom or knowledge or information so that we can make a decision, or we can move through it with more clarity. And then sometimes avoidance is really just, we're not paying attention to something because we don't want to, right? And so we need to take a look at and discern really personally for our own self, because only you will really know what this means. You are the one who's going to have to get honest with yourself about what you're avoiding and how you're avoiding it, what energy you're bringing to that avoidance. Is it to just release quickly and effortlessly? Is it because you're feeling lack of clarity, lack of direction in something? Or is it because you are actually like avoiding it? Like, you're just, no. Because it's going to be a hard thing. It's going to be uncomfortable. Maybe it's going to be more uncertain. So it's a mix of all of those things. So when we're looking at avoidance, especially with the things that are things that we know that we're meant to move through, we're meant to work through, they're not going away, they're not falling away effortlessly on their own. And we know on an internal level, to some degree, that the avoidance of the thing is just prolonging it. It's not allowing us to move through. It's not allowing us to move ahead. It's not allowing us to learn anything from it. The avoidance is procrastination, which, again, I do believe that procrastination is in essence, has gifts and challenges too. So procrastination is a whole other topic, but again, it's along the same lines of the energy behind the procrastination, right? So with that being said, when we avoid things, when we disregard things, when we know that we're meant to look at it, we know that we're meant to move through it, but we continually avoid it. The thing that I've been really leaning into more and more and more over the last little bit is, we can intellectualize something. We can use our mental energy and our mental capacity to really create this space of looking at all the angles, really opening up to opportunities of clarity and awareness, and using that to help us make a decision about something or help us to move through something. So there's that intellectual energy that's very helpful. And then there's the emotional level as well, the emotional level of energy that comes into it as well. So the emotion will kind of guide us into how intense or how prominent something is in our life. So that's something to pay attention to. But again, it's a very, it kind of makes it, it makes it very, I don't know how to explain it really. It gives you the sense that yes, you can only move through your mind so much. You can only do things through emotional energy so much before you actually need to physically do something. But the other thing that I've been playing with is not the physical doing of anything. It's not about taking the actions or anything like that, but it's about getting into your body and physically embodying what your body has to say about something. So it's allowing essentially your body to catch up to your mind and your emotions. And so personally, one of the things that I've been looking at for myself lately is if I feel like I'm hitting kind of a dead end and I'm avoiding and I'm resisting something because my mind is played out, my emotions are played out on this thing. I've gone through those motions. I've gone through those energies and like really picked everything with a fine-tooth comb because that's just how I am. It's time for me to step away from the mind and the emotions. It's time for me to embody and get into my body and like tune in with my physical self. So this is where, we bring presence to our mind, we bring presence to our emotions. Now we need to bring presence to our body, to our physical energy. And so my mantra or my affirmation that I use quite a bit now is my presence is my power. And that is because for a very long time, a very, very long time, avoidance has been, my power. Avoidance to not feed into things, not to engage in certain things, not to make things mean anything or make a story about something, and not to like engage and activate and participate in something. So my avoidance has actually been a really interesting thing that I use for control essentially. And this blew my mind once a while back, and somebody had said, well, if I just avoid a situation or I move away from a situation or I come out of a situation, and now I'm paraphrasing and putting this into my own words, but they were essentially asking, like, am I controlling a situation by not engaging in the situation? And it was 100% yes. That is how you control your energy. That is how you control the experience. And so that just blew my mind because I never pegged myself for somebody who controlled anything or for anybody who like manipulated anything. But it really was a big eye opener for me and being like, oh yeah, well, I avoid or I disregard or I move away from things. I just completely step back and walk away, sneaking out the back door kind of deal. That kind of whole energy around things that are going on. And so that is how I control whatever it is that I need to control in that moment. And so anyway, it was just really interesting. So with avoidance, avoiding the things that we are moving through this month as the theme in the Moon Memo, which is all around anger and the reactivity of anger, getting responsible for the reactions and for the aftermath and the wake of anger, and then really moving into the response that we want to have when we feel anger coming up for us. And always for me, I continually come back to, on the other side of anger is power, right? So on the other end of the spectrum, there's, anger, and there's like lashing out and the reactivity and the, just the complete disregard or out of control or at the whim of anger. And then on the other side of that is power. It is being very mindful and aware and very directive of where your energy and how you're expressing that, and that's power. So today I wanted to do a couple rounds of tapping on avoidance, getting back into the body. So the other thing I want to just stand back to for the body is when I am maxed out in my mental and emotional capacity of energy, and I've like gone through the motions with those as much as I possibly can, and I feel avoidant, I feel like I'm hitting a wall or I'm resisting something, it's time to come into my body. It's time to just not physically take action necessarily, but it's to actually just pay attention and sit with my physical self. And I can use my mind, I can use my mental energy, that intellect that I have, and direct it. And so yesterday I practiced this, or the day before I practiced this somewhere, and I had to just, set an intention. I was like, my mind is not going to run through thoughts. My mind is not going to run through options and all the rest of it, right? My mind right now, I am directing my mind to be an interpreter and to be an advocate for my body. So whatever my thoughts are right now is a direct reflection of what my body is feeling, and my mind is interpreting and advocating for my body right now. It's on the same page. So it was really, really interesting. So to be able to harness that energy, and I can do that with my emotions too. It's like, okay, well, using my mental capacity, how is my mind going to interpret and advocate for my emotions right now? How are they going to help me make sense of this in a very intuitive and energetic way? So anyway, hopefully that makes sense. If not, let me know. I'd love to elaborate more. I'm obviously still moving through that whole process for myself, but it's just getting more and more clear, and it's very interesting the more clarity I have around it. So let's get to do some tapping now on avoidance. And so I wanted to use again that affirmation, my presence is my power. And for me, the initial thing is like, when I'm thinking about this in a struggle place, or in a place or in a way that I'm feeling disempowered, I think of like, don't make eye contact. If you don't see it, you don't believe it. Or if you don't make eye contact, you can't engage in it, right? And so it's that a whole avoidance of like, don't make eye contact with the thoughts that you have, or the emotions that you have, or the actions that you're doing that are kind of led by your autopilot mode. Like if you don't make eye contact with those things, you will not be able to shift them and move them in a direction that will be more, will put you into more of an aligned state. So awareness is everything. And, with that awareness comes avoidance. So let's just get to tapping and see what comes out. So if you're in a good place to do so, maybe take some water. Get yourself kind of settled and situated here. And a nice breath, and tapping on the side of the hand. You can start to say, even though I really want to avoid this thing, I've been putting it off for so long. And I can really feel it start to loom in and surround me. I love and accept this part of myself anyway. Even though I feel very uncertain, I feel uncomfortable, I just don't know how to address it. And that's okay, because I love and accept myself anyway. Especially because it feels like I need to take action as soon as I'm aware of anything. There's not a happy medium. There's not a grace period. It feels like I don't know about it and don't have to do anything about it. Or it feels like I know about it and I have to do something about it right now. And I love and accept where I am right now. Top of the head. I feel like I have to shift things right away. My real point. So if I avoid it, I won't have to do anything about it. Not because I don't want to do anything about it, but because I really don't know what to do about it. I don't have clarity. Collarbone point. I don't have options. Underneath the arms. And so if I bring awareness to this, underneath the chest, I am going to sit in a really uncomfortable place. And I don't want to do that. I don't like to feel uncomfortable. Eyebrow point. I don't like to feel uncertain. Eyebrow or side of the eye makes me feel like I don't have a clue about what I'm doing. And I can't have that. Underneath the nose, I can't control what I don't know. Underneath the mouth. And so it's best to avoid something. Collarbone point as a way to control it. Underneath the arms. This is how I know how to control things. Underneath the chest. I avoid it until I know what to do about it. There's points. And then it's a whirlwind of shit. Top of the head. It's a whirlwind of change. Eyebrow points. And it's not, it doesn't always go as I planned. Side of the eye. So I make damn sure I know what I'm doing before I look at anything. Underneath the eye. I forgive myself for making it all or nothing. I forgive myself for making things so extreme. I give myself permission to be able to look at something. Collarbone point. And to give myself a grace period. Underneath the arms where I can unfold and unravel it. Underneath the chest, I give myself permission to be uncomfortable and be okay. Wrist points, I give myself permission to be uncertain and to know that that's okay. Top of the head, because I am capable of doing hard things. Eyebrow point, I am capable of being uncomfortable and uncertain. Side of the eye, and it doesn't mean that the world is falling apart. Okay. So just taking a second and landing into what that brings up for you. So how do you feel on a scale of 1 to 10 about avoidance? How triggering is avoidance, or the things that you're avoiding? How uncertain and how unacceptable is uncertainty? Like what kind of intensity or what kind of what comes up for you around that? Like it's unacceptable to be uncertain. It's unacceptable to be uncomfortable. But again, it always comes back to the gifts and the challenges, both sides to every coin. And so both sides to a circumstance, to an emotion. And what are you open to bringing? Sorry, all of these chickadees are just going nuts. They're hitting windows very gently. Anyway, so and are you able to open up to just allowing to move, just being able to move into things and just being able to be aware of something without having to make it mean anything or make it do or make yourself take action or do anything when you don't know what that means? And so thinking into that, I want to do another round here around that affirmation of my presence is my power. And you know what, basically it's like I did a post today about, you know what, you're going through the shit, you get to call the shots. It's a matter of decision. It's a matter of genuine awareness of your personal decisions, of your personal energy, and practicing, right? So, I mean, so many times we think that we make a decision or we are uncertain about something, and that means that we don't know. That means that we're like lacking or weak or, you know, just that, you know, for lack of a better word, like we're stupid around something, we're ignorant around something, or we're like, we're not there. And we need to shift that idea or that mentality that if you don't know something, that means that you don't know something. That means that you're less than in some way, shape, or form. And what I want to shift it into is, I mean, uncertainty and in the face of change and discomfort is aware that we learn how to find certainty, is where we find comfort. It's where we find our energy of confidence and our genuine, you know, I don't really necessarily like the word confidence, but it's like this energy of I am not, sorry, I have to stop for a second. Okay, so one of those birds actually like hit the window a little bit hard and stunned itself, and our dog is out there kind of sniffing around. She was being very gentle, but yeah, she's probably scaring the crap out of it even more. So back to that affirmation of my presence is my power, and in just me owning the space of uncertainty, just me owning the space of discomfort, just me owning the space of, okay, nothing has to happen all at once. We can allow this to unfold. We can gather information. We can open up opportunities and options so that we know how to move through this with a very settled energy. Again, yeah, like I was saying, I'm not a big fan of the word confidence, but I do believe in just the word. It's not the meaning behind it, but that genuine settled energy that we have, that is basically confidence. It's that decisive energy that we have that either says, well, it's decisive saying that we don't know what to do, right? It's decisive saying that, well, let's brainstorm some stuff. Anyway, so let's tap into that and see what comes up. And so tapping on the side of the hand, we're going to say, even though being uncertain is not my favorite thing, and I've been known to avoid things because of that uncertainty, I know that there's another part of me that is decisive and allows for space to be made. And I love and accept both of these parts of me now. Sometimes it's easier to avoid things so that I don't have to deal with them until I know what to do. But another part of me understands that when I make eye contact with these things and I be present with them, it's much quicker to get to the point. And I love and accept myself anyway. I can see both sides of me now. The avoidant part of me and the secure part of me. And I'm honoring both of them right now. Top of the head. My presence is my power. Eyebrow point. When I address things, when I take a look at these things and give them my attention, I feel a sense of security. Underneath the nose, I feel a sense of settled uncertainty. And that's okay. Both and is just fine. underneath the arms. I can be uncertain and secure. Underneath the chest. I can be uncomfortable and settled. Wrist points. I can be both present and unsure. Top of the head. And I'm giving myself permission to tap into both of this now. Eyebrow point. I can be both uncertain and secure. Top of the eye. My presence is my power. Underneath the eye. And I am willing to open up to this power now. Underneath the nose, even though I may not know what to do with it. Underneath the mouth, even though I don't know exactly how to or what to do about anything. Collarbone point. I'm going to give it my attention anyway. Underneath the arm and move into that place of solution and option. Underneath the chest. Quickly. Wrist points with grace. Top of the head with flexibility. Eyebrow point, even though it might be messy. Side of the eye, even though it might be awkward and clumsy. Underneath the eye, when I am present with something. Underneath the nose, I can bring that genuine settled energy to it. Underneath the mouth and move through the discomfort and the uncertainty. Collarbone point and get to more clarity and alignment. Underneath the arms. I give myself permission to be present. Underneath the chest, because my presence is my power. So just take a nice deep breath there and see how that all lands for a sec. Okay, so leaning into that, giving yourself permission to do things messily, awkwardly, clumsily, and to be able to move through the discomfort and uncertainty in order to get to the other side of clarity and understanding. And really just bringing your presence to it, because even if you are uncertain and uncomfortable and you bring a certain level of confident presence, like if you're saying, okay, I'm all in, I'm present here, and I don't have a clue what's going on, but you own it, right? That's the big thing, is like the ownership of your energy and the ownership of your presence can help you move through to the clarity and the understanding that you need, to the options and the opportunities that you're going to need to make decisions based on this very settled, very secure energy. So you can be uncertain and you can be secure, right? You can be uncomfortable, but you can be present and you can own that, you can be confident in being uncomfortable, right? So it's just a matter of being very graceful with yourself, being accepting of yourself and showing yourself a level of flexibility, and whatever is a part of that, whatever is included in that, whether it's other people or experiences or circumstances, and just being flexible and not, I always feel like there's always a level of new awareness or new level of understanding that will come with things. So I've been doing my personal work for 5 years or so, but I will be a lifelong student of this. So it comes with that energy of like, I'm owning the beginner energy. I'm owning the uncertainty. I'm owning the fact that I don't know what I don't know, but I'm also owning the fact that I do know. I have a very grounded and settled sense of myself, even though it can slip sometimes, right, back and forth, but that is part of what it is, right? So I want to do one more last round just of tapping and breathing, just to open up into any more space, any more clarity and understanding for you to, like I said, this is like aha moments might not be coming in like this, they may come in after the fact. And so when I do tapping and breathing, it just opens more opportunity to be in a receiving mode for that. So let's just start right on the top of the head and take a nice gentle breath in and out. Eyebrow point, breathing in and out. Side of the eye, breathing in and out. Underneath the eye, breathing in and out. Underneath the mouth, or underneath the nose, breathing in and out. Underneath the mouth, breathing in and out. Collarbone point, breathing in and out. Underneath the arms, breathing in and out. Maybe take a stretch here and a yawn. Underneath the chest, breathing in and out. And wrist points, breathing in and out. Okay, yeah, I'm yawning. Yawning is always a good thing. When I first got into tapping, I yawned like crazy. I still yawn like crazy, but I always thought I was being rude. And I mean, I still cover my mouth when I yawn and whatever, but it has transformed the way I feel about yawning, because I used to yawn through gym class. I used to yawn through very energetically intense, charged things, and I didn't understand why I did. Exercise, like that's one of the major things. Like I used to do Taekwondo as a kid. And even actually a few years ago, I did kickboxing for myself. And I remember yawning through the class some days. And I was just like, oh, don't show anybody that I'm yawning. But it means that your nervous system is in a place of being able to receive the energy that you need. So yawning, I mean, obviously I don't want to be rude and like show my mouth and everything full of food or anything like that. But like, yeah, yawning is not. I am flattered when people yawn around me because that means that they're relaxed enough to be able to let down their guard, especially with working with horses too. They yawn. And when they yawn, that's when I know that, you know, whatever we're working on or whatever we're doing, or the energy between us, the exchange of energy between us is in a good place. So let me know how that lands for you. Let me know if there's anything that came up, if there's anything that you would like me to elaborate on or create more tapping videos or speak to in any way, shape, or form. Any aha moments or insights that you gain specifically. I'm always curious to know how or what comes up. So reach out, let me know, and and we'll talk to you guys soon. Okay, bye.